Co-op. We've searched thousands of additional linemen from other companies, and they're now crawling all over this area. We're going to get those recruits linemen from the trial there. We have Starlink satellite internet deployed for people. We've cleared 5,000 miles of roadway with our Florida Department of Transportation. One of the islands that got severed, Pine Island, the bridge broke. We fixed it. It's open today. So residents can now get back and forth. We're really happy about that. Causeway. That will be done this month. Again, it'll be temporary, but it's go slow, but at least we'll have access to this. We've now deployed C2 command and control elements on all the barrier islands. So one thing for us to be bringing people over, which we've done. Now we have those key elements there. Starting to happy, very happy for a lot of people. We've raised, the First Lady launched the Florida Disaster Florida, raised over $35 million, so that'll be given out to charitable and nonprofit groups that are helping our folks here. guys are very quick to approve the basic. Is that
Yeah, just follow me right around this way. Two members of business leaders, and then you're going to do Ready?
Here you go.
My peeps. Well,
okay. Tripod. Justin, tripod. Justin.
that's all right.
Yeah, cold is like four-wheel drive in a truck. Two-wheel drive. Oh yeah.
James? Governor first, you said?
Full stills only. Full stills only.
I've flown over it. Yeah. I've flown over, but you know, I flew over Sanibel too the first day, and I was just on Sanibel today. It doesn't do justice until you're on the ground. You got to be on the ground. Okay. Now, how did your home do? But you didn't? Oh, you did? Oh, you lost yours too? Are you hanging in there? No. Or somebody, you need a big contractor, if not them. I was just, bureaucracy there, so it's like whatever. But yeah, so we have 100% reimbursement. We just got extended to 60 days. So just get these companies to work. We'll take care of this cost. We'll get it done one way or another. So as soon as they're allowed with search and rescue, we get debris out. We talked to the FPL president. This infrastructure for power is better than people thought. They have work to do, but it's doable. But they just don't want to do it while there's searches because if someone dies, so yeah, so we'll be helpful with talk to Kevin about getting the debris ready to go. You guys are
It's so good to see you.
okay.
We're here.
They're both good. They're both good.
Yes, we are here with everything that you need, and we're raising money into the fund.
How you doing?
You know, with no other state.
You went through Irma and Charlie in that, or Irma? Okay. Yeah. So it survived Charlie and Irma with no problem? Tell you what, those buildings, I mean, it's been incredible to watch it. You go to some places like Pine Island, new construction. You know, there was a store right next to it, maybe over, and it's like, it makes a difference. Well, even if you look like a Cape Coral, you can fly over Cape Coral, you don't see blue tarps, you don't see obviously they have there's a those cities that can tell in 155 mile an hour. So and I think that's been true throughout the state. I mean, you know, those cities tell pretty good.
I still remember
So yeah, so I will FPL. They're itching to get out here once it's safe, and they think it's easier than here. Or some of their stuff held up pretty good. Worse than the election. Concrete poles just get packed just everywhere.
Yeah.
kick it off? Okay.
Well, good afternoon, and I want to thank President Biden and Jill Biden, as well as Administrator Deanne Criswell for coming down here, looking at really significant damage here in Lee County, and there's other places where you have really significant damage as well outside of this general area. We were very fortunate to have good coordination with White House and with FEMA from the very beginning of this. We declared a state of emergency last Friday, September 23rd. This was a disturbance out there by Columbia, and then the next day we got a major disaster declaration approved by the president, and we really appreciated that. And that basically set off the massive mobilization that we had ready to be able to respond to this storm. As of now, there have been over 2,500 rescues effectuated. There have been close to 100,000 structures in the most hard-hit areas that have been searched. We've deployed resources that were pre-staged and are now in the field for food, water, and other types of supplies. There's 28 different points of distribution across the affected areas. 45 million bottles of water have been served, 2 million pounds of ice. We had, prior to the storm, 42,000 linemen stationed throughout Florida ready to be on site to restore power as soon as the storm has passed. Today, we have over 97% of the state that has power. Here in Lee County, of course, one of the hardest hit areas, Florida Power and Light has restored 85% of its Lee County customers. Of course, this area is going to proceed once the search and rescue in Fort Myers Beach, which is also an FPL area. The Lee County Electrical Cooperative has accepted mutual aid the state has arranged for linemen from other co-ops, from Duke, and from FPL to assist in restoring to customers throughout Lee County. And so I said I wanted this to be the lineman capital of the world. We have thousands of linemen in places like Cape Coral working really hard to get that power back on. We've also, because of the bridge situation with the causeway in Sanibel, as well as the bridge in Pine Island, we were airlifting linemen onto both of those islands to be able to start surveying the damage and creating a plan for restoration. I will tell you that I was in Sanibel today. You can go over it in a helicopter and you see damage, but it does not do it justice until you are actually on the ground and you see concrete utility poles sawed off right in half, massive power lines everywhere, massive amounts of debris. So that's going to be a really significant effort, but our view is we want to start that as soon as possible and not wait until the causeway is repaired. Charlotte County, FPL estimates full restoration very soon. We've deployed 375 Starlink internet devices that Elon Musk has provided. He's repositioned their satellites. We now have internet at all the pods, all the EOCs, all the key places, and also some places throughout the communities. Our Florida Department of Transportation has cleared 5,000 miles of roadway. And when Pine Island was severed from the mainland, we went out and met with those folks on Friday of last week, and what they said was, we just need to get back and forth from the island. Is there something we can do to either do ferry service or the bridge? So we talked with Florida Department of Transportation. We said we can restore and provide a temporary bridge. So we did that, and that opened today. So Pine Island is now restored to the mainland. There was some talk that they just had to get off the island. That's not who these people are. They are island people. They're not leaving their homes. And so we're happy to be able to have done that. We also just executed a contract for emergency repairs to the Sanibel Causeway. So that's going to take a little bit longer. We anticipate it being done this month in October, and that will provide access back onto Sanibel. In the meantime, we have been airlifting support assets. We'll continue to do that also by boat, but we're optimistic to be able to get at least a temporary fix so that we can start to bring in even more support. And flowing from that is our Division of Emergency Management has put command and control elements in all the barrier islands. So Sanibel now has a C2 element right there. They don't have to worry about going to the county or the state. They're there, and they are going to be effectuating those operations. And so major reconstruction of the power in Sanibel is going to be necessary, and massive amount of debris removal Here, of course, you see, but certainly in Sanibel, really, really significant. And I want to thank the administration has approved now 60 days of 100% reimbursement for debris removal. You have some of these communities here, their bill for debris removal will likely be more than their annual budgets. And so this is really, really significant help. So we thank them for doing that. I also want to thank the First Lady, my wife Casey. She launched FloridaDisasterFund.org at the end of last week. It's now raised over $35 million. As much as we appreciate all the state agencies that are offering assistance, FEMA that can offer assistance, those are based on regulation and law, and there's some people that may not fit into those wickets. Well, we now have mobilized private charities with a lot of money and growing to be able to help people in really tough circumstances. I also just want to say that when you're doing, responding to something like this, you have to integrate various levels of government. Of course, our counties and municipalities, they have the boots on the ground. They're involved every day in life safety missions, whether it's police, fire, rescue, what you name it. The state, we manage and coordinate amongst various counties. And then, of course, the federal government, FEMA, providing support. And I think we've worked as well across state, local, and federal of any disaster that I've seen. And so I want to thank Administrator Criswell from FEMA for being on the ground, being supportive, and being very responsive. I think one of the things that you're seeing in this response, we are cutting through the bureaucracy. We are cutting through the red tape, and that's from local government, state government, all the way up to the president. So we appreciate the team effort. This is something that is, you know, these storms come, they're on the horizon. You kind of project, hey, it could be really bad. Oftentimes, it doesn't necessarily get to that level. Well, this was the full Monty. I mean, the storm surge that you saw through here met the expectations, the highest expectations, and you've seen what significant damage that can do. So I'm just thankful that everyone's banded together. We've got a lot of work to do here, but I'll tell you, the spirit of the people of this state and Southwest Florida has been phenomenal. When I'm meeting with people that have lost everything, that are 85, 90 years old in shelters, and all they can do is thank the Red Cross, the fire, the state, FEMA, for all the support, that shows you some of these folks. They are thankful that they have so many people that are there supporting, and that's really, you only get there if it's a team effort. So, Mr. President, welcome to Florida. We appreciate working together across various levels of government, and the floor is yours.
Well, Gov, the First Lady, thank you very much for the hospitality. And, you know, I want to thank the mayor and the county chair. Cecil took me on a little helicopter ride, and we went out to Sanibel Island and all across. And I mean, I'm sure it's much worse on the ground, but you can see a whole hell of a lot of the damage from the air. And you can imagine, because unfortunately, I've been to a lot of disaster areas in the last couple months, last 6 months. You know, more fires have burned in the west and the southwest, burned everything right to the ground than the entire state of New Jersey, as much room as that takes up. And the reservoirs out west are down to almost zero. We're in a situation where the Colorado River looks more like a stream. There's a lot going on. And I think the one thing this has finally ended is a discussion about whether or not there's climate change and we should do something about it. But folks, I also want to, Jill and I have had you all in our prayers, and I mean that sincerely. And we're here today because we wanted to tell you in person that we're thinking of you and we're not leaving. We're not leaving until this gets done. I promise you that. You know, when you walk around here, what's left of Fisherman's Wharf, and you don't have to have much of an imagination to understand that everything is historic, titanic, and unimaginable storm just ripped it to pieces. You got to start from scratch, got to move again. And it's going to take a lot of time, not weeks or months. It's going to take years for everything to get squared away in the state of Florida, to fully recover and rebuild. We're here today with Governor DeSantis and Senator Rubio and Senator Scott and Congressman Donald. You know, today we have one job, and only one job, and that's to make sure the people of Florida get everything that they need to fully, thoroughly recover. We're one of the few nations in the world that, on a basis of a crisis we face, we're the only nation that comes out of it better than we went into it. And that's what we're going to do this time around, come out of it better, because this is the United States of America, and I emphasize united. We've seen extraordinary cooperation at every level of government, as the governor has said, and the cooperation began before the storm hit. Number one priority was saving lives. At the request of the governor, I signed an emergency declaration. Let's see if this thing works. Is this one working? I signed an emergency declaration that prepositioned federal assets, including food and water and generators, not only in Florida but in other states. So be ready if the worst happened, and it happened. We also prepositioned the largest number of search and rescue teams ever assembled in the United States. Ever assembled in the United States. And FEMA, the Pentagon, the Coast Guard, other agencies, so we can be ready to respond immediately, working with state and local officials. And the search and rescue teams have knocked on nearly 70,000 doors and rescued over 3,800 people. Yesterday, Lee County alone, the search and rescue teams examined 24,000 structures just in this county, making sure we're accounting for everyone who still may be trapped. We have over 4,000 federal personnel on the ground as I speak. The Army Corps of Engineers providing emergency power to hospitals across the state, nursing homes, water treatment plants, to make sure these facilities are able to continue to operate. Tens of thousands of utility workers all across America, not just in Florida, all across America responded to the call from Florida that needed help. Thousands from all across America, working around the clock to get power restored. This is about America coming together, and I really mean it. America coming together. FEMA has also delivered, as has been mentioned, 4 million meals, more millions of bottles of water, and making sure that they have the immediate necessities. But we know from experience, I know from experience, how much anxiety and fear and concern there are in the people. We didn't lose our whole home, but lightning struck, and we lost an awful lot of it about 15 years ago. And we had a lot to go to. We had relatives nearby. It wasn't like everything was wiped out. But we know the feeling, that feeling about, where am I going to put my head down on a pillow tonight? How's that going to work? Is my kid going to be okay? Is he going to be able to go back to school? Am I going to be able to build my home? Will the insurance cover it? If I don't have insurance, God knows, what am I going to do? And, you know, we're working to speak to all those issues because they all warrant immediate responses. I've instructed my administration to bring every element, I mean every element of the federal government together to help with immediate needs and long-term rebuilding. Yesterday, we opened a disaster recovery center right here in Lee County. 3 more will be open in this part of the state by tomorrow, and with more to come. And the state is co-locating insurance villages at the same center. So you're not sure what your insurance circumstance is, you're not sure what you're going to get, you can show up and determine in one place, meet with your insurance company, and also apply for federal assistance at the same time. From FEMA to Small Business Administration to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, there are many ways we can help, and we've already started. Already 200,000 Floridians, 200,000 families, I should say, have registered for urgent assistance, like buying food, getting their prescriptions, and clothing, basics. And how many of you lost your businesses? Well, insurance may not cover everything, may not cover the full cost. So we're in a position, some of the folks are going to have lost their homes as well. And the question is you have insurance and we'll cover the cost. Well, I directed the Small Business Administration to speed up the processing of low-interest disaster loans that can provide up to $2 million for small businesses and nonprofits and additional money for lost income, and 200,000 for homeowners to close the gap between what insurance won't cover and what their needs are. And that's in around 1.5% interest rate. And folks, look, yesterday the state asked me and we immediately agreed to activate our hotel program. So individuals who need hotel rooms won't have to pay for anything. I know there's not many around here, but they can go to the nearest hotel and not have to worry about paying anything and just have the coverage. If you don't have insurance, or if you're underinsured and you found a place to rent, or your car has been destroyed, you're entitled up to $37,900 in federal funds. If you need to make repairs to your home, you may be eligible for another $37,900, not $39,700, $37,900. So you possibly can be able to get close to $80,000 for your needs. It's available. And folks, look, the most important thing you can do is register so we can help figure out who is eligible for these things. Hundreds of FEMA personnel are going door to door, and to help with that, well, you call 800-621-3362, and I'm told you're waiting for hours and hours to get through, and you're not getting anybody answering the phone. We've talked about that on the way down in Air Force One, and we're going to try to speed that up by having additional personnel. We're trying to expand it. So you have to have a little patience for us to get it all done. So many people are contacting. Or you can go online to disasterassistance.gov and find out what you're eligible to receive. Or you can sign up at one of the multiple disaster recovery centers, the one that's opened here and many more they're going to be opening. Meanwhile, in the counties hardest hit, the federal government, at the request of the governor, at the very beginning, said we'll cover 100% of the cleanup cost, the debris cost, which is billions of dollars before it's all over, if you think about it. That we're going to pay 100% for 30 days. I just extended for another 30 days. And the governor and I talked. I think he's going to have to come back and ask for some more beyond those 60 days because it is consequential. Unless you clear the area, there's not much else you can do. And so, folks, look, we have a long